Yeah, hi, Dhaval. Pleasure to be on this conversation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Paryushan, and I'm 38 years of age. I have a wife and a 4-year-old child. I work in technology mostly, and then though my work is as a product manager, but usual uh, being touch in with technology is what usually you will see me working for.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. So let's start with this, Paryushan. Like it's been few years, I would say more than a couple of years since we worked together. Let me ask you, what are the biggest the most important results or outcome that you got when we worked together?
So I'll say there are two aspects to it, right?
Hmm.
One is what people see, and the second is what only I have observed in myself. What people see is when I came to you in a very formal engagement. Why I say formal engagement? Because there's a story to it. We can discuss about it sometime. I was around 72, 73 kgs, and then I went down from there to 65, 64. That's the range that I remember. So
Hmm.
that's what something people could observe. Apart from that, one thing that I observed in myself is having that confidence and clarity on how to approach this weight loss journey, right? When I came to you, we had a long conversation around 1, 2 hours of chat, and I knew that I read a lot. I saw a lot of videos online, and I know a lot of things, and I felt you won't tell me anything different, right?
Yeah,
But what happened in that duration is how we broke down the problem, how we went into sort of experimentation mode. That's the way that I describe it, because that's the way that I do my job, making one change at a time, observing it for a while, observing where is the ceiling of that change coming, how that change is impacting me. And that gave me a confidence that I can do this even if I regain the weight. And you know it well, right? I regained the weight, and I also brought it back significantly and overshot the earlier target of 60, earlier weight that we achieved, which was 64, 65. So that's the second aspect, which I believe is more important, and the approach that you took, that's what helped me in getting that confidence in the process, and also that I could take it again.
got it. So interesting. Two things that I found it like one, which is very very important, is you got confidence in your ability to be able to lose weight even if you gain it. Okay,
Right.
that's the big thing that I hear you saying, and it's not just confidence. It did happen
Right. It
because
did
of
happen.
obviously some personal reasons. It can happen. Life can be a little tricky
Correct.
because we are not just here to lose weight. We have other things in life. As I said, there's work, there's family, travel, all those things happen, and it can happen. Now that one, you got the confidence. Second, you're also able to use the skills that you develop to get to the weight that you actually wanted again. So confidence and also being implemented. So now you have gone through that journey. Once that confidence wasn't just the false sense of or the illusion, it was actually real. So that's one. Second thing, which you highlighted and which is most important thing, because a lot of people, when we come across in today's world, information is not something which is, what do you say, lacking, if I were to put it, right? There is enough information out there for almost everybody who's looking to get there. Now,
Right.
as you said, you had information, you had some amount of knowledge and exposure. You had been to, some videos, gone through something. What do you think was the, you know, the shift, during this process that you saw? Because if somebody is coming to me now again and say, "Hey, Dhaval, I know what to do," right? And which is obvious because if you know what to do and then looking for help, getting coached is a little tricky thing, right? When you don't know, it's okay. Like I'm open. I don't know what to do. Come and tell me. But I know what to do. Probably I failed trying to do that. Now, what is that new thing that devil is going to teach me? So, what is that new thing or the novelty or the surprise element that you got?
So, so I was reflecting on the complete engagement, right?
Hmm.
And the success in this engagement helped me understand there is the importance of a coach, right? That's one thought. If I actually bring the thought in what the question that you asked,
Sure.
so if I were going through the process myself, what I would do is I'll try something. There's no accountability for me,
Hmm.
and then if I don't get the result, I will
Mhm.
be confused. Did I do the right thing? Is this the actual thing? Because some video I saw, there it was mentioned. I don't know what else the person did in the video when he was saying that XYZ you do, you get the result. So there is an element of uncertainty, and then there is an element of non accountability. When you get a coach, they they there you already have invested in terms of money and time, number one. Number two, you have the confidence, you've already researched that this person has given result. Now the third thing that they are doing is breaking down the problem. So I think just because having the coach, both the things that I mentioned, accountability, because then the coach is asking the question, have you done this? When you mention that you walk 30 minutes every day, are you actually doing that? If you're saying that you have had enough protein, are you actually taking, how did you measure it? So that brings in the accountability, because in my head I might be doing n number of things, and then irrespective of those n number of things, I'm creating another story that all my boxes are ticked. That's one part of accountability. The second part of ambiguity, the coach brings in that clarity, that you are doing this is going to get you result. For someone else it might bring in 10% of impact, you might get 5% of impact, but the impact would be there. And why that 10%, 5%? Because somebody else started from, let's say, 10 grams of protein per day. You are starting from 30 grams of protein and taking it to 60 grams. So the results might be different,
Yeah.
but results would be there. So both the things help.
Got it. Yeah, I think you've kind of made it really well because my coach, when I learned coaching, and when you know that I went to a proper coaching school to learn how to coach because I'm a techie guy, just like a lot of other people out there. And he said our job as coaches is to bridge the say-do ratio of our clients. You
Right.
said you do it, or you say you want to do it, and now you do it, right? So that's one part. What you say, accountability to really match key. Whatever you're saying, is it really what is being done? And that's where most people have the gap. And then when we look at the result and say we're not getting results, we probably are not as consistent as we think in our head we are, or we are not as complete in our efforts as we think as we are. So that's the one thing. And second thing that you talked about is breaking down the problem and looking at it. It's a very very important part of the puzzle because as an expert, see what happens is what we call it as it's like there is a threshold or what we call it as a turning point, or what we call it as point where things change, right? The tipping point, or a lot of other ways of calling it. If you start doing certain process for a certain period, it may not show up like it's going to produce a result unless and until you build, and then suddenly you see the flip starting to happen. So yeah, I think these are very important things. So let me ask you, what do you think
Just
was the
add,
biggest? Sorry.
I'll just add two things because I think those are also important. I knew that I have a confidence in you. And
Mhm.
that's why, even when in the starting the results were slow, that helped. And this is a honest feedback, because until I have confidence, I would have left it the way that I have left trying with the videos and all. That's number one. Number two, there's a commitment of the time duration that comes in. And that's why, even if you let it go, you come back again. And I remember you telling me multiple times, there's a flow, right? If you can do the best, you do the best. If that is not possible, you come and do this. If you, that is also not possible, you go down a little bit more. And even if that's not possible, you have failed, come back again and start from the day, from the best possible action that you can take. So I think those two things, because I have observed, I have recommended the program for a couple of folks. They do the same thing that probably you suggested, but they don't get the result, because I think the lack of commitment and this philosophy and this reminder that any action that you're taking should be a better action than something that's going to negate your journey. So I think those are the two things that I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you.
No,
Yes.
makes sense. So this is what we call it as adaptability in life. Okay. Now, when it comes to this word consistency, it's been really misunderstood. When you say consistency, is not doing 30 minutes of walk at 3 kilometers an hour every single day of your life. It's
Right.
actually just showing up and doing walking every single day of your life. Someday it could just be 5 minutes. Someday it could be 30 minutes, but you're walking at 1.5 kilometers per hour speed. So the intensity of your actions and even the quantum of the actions has to be adapted. And I'm telling this from my own experience of working out and in this journey for 22 years now, because all the days are not similar, all the days are not same, right? There are easy days, there are busy days, and there are crazy days. Now you cannot expect your ability, your commitment, your energy into your every part of life same every day. It's monotony, right? It's like it's not going to happen. So good that you brought that up. Now, what I was asking you, or what I was coming to, is like, what were the biggest, or what is the biggest challenge that you faced before we worked together? Like, what is a solution that you're looking for? This is what I'm not able to do, and this is why I want a coach, or this is what I'm looking for.
So, in a way, Dhaval, I sort of answer that question. I tried multiple things in
Hmm.
bits and pieces. I didn't know what will work for me. I definitely was not getting results. The weight had plateaued for me,
Hmm.
and the the disappointment of not being able to lose weight. That's where I, in fact, stopped putting further effort, and that sort of. So I was probably static at somewhere around 68. When I stopped putting effort, I went to 72, and then I realized I have to do something, right? So that's where, and I also realized over a period of time that there's something wrong in my approach. That's one of the reasons why I'm not able to do the results. Either everybody who's saying in these blogs, videos are incorrect, or they are doing something which I'm not very sure, but there's a process to it. The most and one of the most critical thing which was puzzling to me was nutrition. I'm a vegetarian. I don't even eat egg. Right now, I knew protein is important, and when I wanted to take protein, the other point came in is protein powder. My concern was, is it good or bad? Because there is another um, set of research is being done. Good to have protein, not good to have protein. You should have it at this quantity or that quantity. You should have vegan. In fact, to be honest, I don't even know the difference today. There is vegan, then there is plant based, then there is X based, Y based. So all those things were sort of too much of information for me, and I don't have that amount of time to do experiment, self experiment, and then conclude that these are the things that are right for me to do, or just to conclude that these, number one is just to know what experiment to do, and are these good enough experiment, because there are 100 experiment I can do. I just want to do 10 because that's the max time I can spend, and within 10 I observe the result. So that's a long process. Somebody has done it. For me it was you, and for you somebody else. So that there's a chain of process that has been done. I wanted to follow that rather than try to be an expert in this field.
Got it. Right. This is again a very interesting way you put it. And you're right. There's always a chain of command, like in a hierarchy that we have in a corporates or in a, and it's the same thing, like, see my coaches, like schools and places that I have learned from, they have done so much of research, and they, kind of condense it, put it in a structure, put it in a thing that I learned. And based on whatever I learned, based on the situation that you are in, I'm able to put it in there. So if you're actually looking at you are when you're getting the information from me, you're getting all the information that all 10, 15, 20 of my coaches would have collected, their coaches would have given to them, and that's all filtered, and I would say more contextualized. And I think you made a right point. uh, I don't think it is impossible for anybody to learn. Like if you are, and especially the people that I work with, you've been successful in your corporate life. You're at a certain level in your life. It's not that you have learning disability, so you know what to learn. It's just that, do you have one enough time to do that? And second, which experiment to pick? Right? I have time to experiment, which is limited. At the same time, is that there could be 100 and you pick 10, and imagine if only 20% were them to work, and you pick the 10 which are not supposed to work, what that does to your confidence.
True, true. Very, very
Right.
true. I think um, uh, yeah, that was a problem that even I was facing. There is no way that I could have gone and done this experiment. One thing that you specifically mentioned, contextualize. That's what is missing in these generic videos that are available and the blogs that are available. I'm 100% sure that they were right in the results that they have got. However, there was a context to it. Do I know whether they were vegetarian, non-vegetarian, or they were eating something, let's say egg, because that's a very good source of protein, or uh, most probably they are using, let's say, Apple Watch, giving them the right amount of calories that they are burning. Though you never asked me to calculate how much calories am I burning, but I'm just giving an example. And I'm just doing a pro database of calculation that I'm walking, let's say 1 hour, it's 4 kilometers. So you never know what the context is, right?
Right.
Genetics are different, so context might differ, as I was saying, 10% result versus 100% result for someone else.
Absolutely. Makes sense. So let's talk a little more on nutrition because as you said, that was the biggest puzzle for you. How is it simplified for you now? How do you really look at it, or what changes you've made which is so sustainable for you? Because now we are talking few years down the line. You're not talking about something that you did for 3 months. Now we're talking few years down the line. How is it for you right now? What does it look like?
So there are I'll extend this to nutrition plus eating habits in general. From a nutrition point of view, one thing that I'm very clear is I need to have protein in every meal. The second thing, which I'm not very consistent, but that's always at the back of my mind, is to have vegetables, basically fiber, right? So these are the two things that I have made the changes. I know that you told me a number of other things. And a good thing is that I remember you mentioned that one handful is good amount for each meal. So from that point of view, I'm very clear every time that I go. And I'll tell you one more fact. I travel every week, Mumbai. I wake up at 5 and at the airport at 7 and come back around 9 and 10. And that can derail my eating habits, that can derail my physical activity. But a few philosophies that I picked up, or a few thumb of rules that I picked up after conversation with you, I still follow. If I'm going there, one thing that I definitely get is paneer tikka. Nothing else. First thing that I'll get is paneer. The second thing that I'll get is, especially in these places, salad. I stayed there for 4 days during one fintech festival, and 4 days, these are the two things that I'll eat first. If I'm still hungry, I have to satisfy everything, and then I'll start eating something else. And if the rest of the meal is good, then I'll go to sweets. So that's why I'm saying that while there is a nutrition part, there's a eating habits also. So these are some of the rules that I picked up, especially when it comes to, let's say, I remember you said that you also have sweet tooth. Now I start eating something sweet. I remember you mentioning कि यार वो लो ना जहाँ पे न्यूट्रिशन भी मिल जाए, और अगर उसमें भी आपका मन नहीं है, then you pick up something else. So for me it's more like कि यार चलो यार, दाल हलवा भी अगर I'm having, it would have some level of protein, let me have it. And then I plan it very well. If you go in buffet, there are like 10 sweets. I'll ensure that either I taste everything small, small, or else I just remove everything and I'll pick up the best one. So this is on the eating habits. On nutrition part, as I said, two things that in fact, three things: adequate water, then having enough protein. I and the third thing is fiber. For protein, I also started carrying Whole Truth or the Yoga Bar the bars, because as I travel, so I know that I don't want to be at a situation where I feel hungry and then I eat junk food. So have it beforehand itself. I carry bar. I don't want to be at a place where because of that restlessness coming because of hungry. I'm being hungry. I eat whatever crap that I have. The other thing that I remember you mentioning, eat slow. I'll eat slow so that, again, especially when I'm hungry, I'll eat slow so that I don't overeat. So those are some of the things that I've done from nutrition and eating habits point of view.
So, like, based on whatever you've said, it sounds ridiculously simple. Like, does it really work? Have you got the results doing this?
I would say that eating protein have improved my energy levels. I'm vegetarian, and that's something that I've observed. Might have been the reason. Again, these are causation correlation that I can draw right now. That energy levels were generally low. Uh, Whenever I have good amount of protein, my energy levels are better. I don't feel hungry that much if I take even protein shake of raw pressry or something at times when I'm traveling, especially. So that helps me in avoiding overeating. The worst part of gaining weight, and these are some of the things that now I have confidence. Earlier I would have said कि I have read it somewhere. I have practiced these, and since you have told me, so I have confidence कि these work, right? एक प्रोटीन शेक ले लिया या फिर एक प्रोटीन बार ले लिया और having enough paneer, I'll feel satisfied within some amount. And now having that conscious that awareness here, now I'm full. At max, I'll, even if I'm sitting an hour with the team on a dinner table or a lunch table at a cafe, ज्यादा से ज्यादा मैं, अगर मेरे को और लगा कि कुछ मंच करना है, लगे ना मस्क पनीर, after a while I'll not even feel like eating, right? And the same thing goes with salads. जब आपको मालूम है why you are eating it, now I feel so good about it. Now I can tell you which salad I'm going to like, which salad I don't like. Earlier it was more like, yeah, salad I don't want to have.
Right.
And it goes with almost everything when I'm eating.
Got it. So some really good points, right? See, number one, I really see what you've kept is very simple. Second, what you've understood is molding these things based on the context of your life. As you said, you're traveling every week. And again, when you are in a entrepreneurship or in a leadership journey, it's always about social eating, working lunches, working dinners, meeting clients, customers, other industry leaders over lunch, dinner, and if you really don't know how to pick what you eat at that point in time, that could be a biggest challenge. Like social eating for leaders, for entrepreneurs, for business owners is a big thing. Now, one, you cannot take it out of your life. Travel is something you can't take it out of your life. But what I can see is that what you've done is you've created a very simple process based on whatever we discuss for you. So if I'm traveling, this is my thing. If I'm not traveling, this is my thing. If I'm in a working meeting, this is my thing. And this is what we call it as habits. This is what we call it as like if then statements here. So when you're sitting in with your colleagues, you're not now thinking about what to eat, or your focus can still be on the work that you're doing, on the discussions that are happening. At the same time, you're not worried about like, oh, you know my health is going to be a problem or my weight is going to be a problem because I can't eat. So I think that's a very, very good thing that you got out of it. Now, just to sum it up, let me ask you this: if somebody is looking for help, if somebody is exploring working with us, what advice, what suggestions, or what words of wisdom would you want to share with them?
One thing is, at least I think a professional help gives you the right direction. If you are looking for the results, the probability of the results and the duration in which the results will come, if you're looking to reduce the duration and increase the probability, then having a coach is definitely a good thing to have. While coach is good, there is an investment of money, time I would not say, because time is something that you will reduce over a period of time. In the short term you might lose the time, but in the long term you will probably gain the time, because then you will have clarity. You might have to spend some amount also. However, that amount is nothing when it comes to health over a long term period. So that is in general. Now if I come specifically to you, Dhaval, I have seen you being involved a lot, individually as well as in a group session. I find comfortable in coming up, and especially those sessions that we used to have, discussing the points. And I've seen that, and there are two approaches, right? Somebody saying that coach knows everything, but coach knows everything, but that is generic in nature, right? You having that conversation, bringing out the specific solutions during our conversations, telling, okay, you try this. What do you think? And then you try this, right? So that helped. So one part, having a coach, at least for my lifestyle and the way that I live, is important for me. I put that the amount that I spent was good for a long term period. Specifically for you, I like the approach that you have taken, and that not only helped me to get the results, but over a period of time. Important thing for everyone is have patience. These the habits that we have picked, they are built over a period of life. If not 20 years, 30 years, at least 10 years. So it's going to take some time. And bodies, in fact, so that's on that. I'll give probably one or two examples. See,
Sure.
I left, you know the recent episode, right?
Hmm.
I didn't do anything because my doctor said no more workouts. And I
Hmm.
was worried that I was at 64 and I'm consistently going to 62. And I was worried what's happening. And then I realized that it's a habit, right? That habit that I formed in terms of eating, not having any point in time, or the metabolism rate that probably might have improved, or the unconscious walks that I was still having, that led 1.5 kgs even after I've stopped every kind of physical workout temporarily for the on the recommendation of my doctor. But that's the way that momentum works. When you are trying to increase, it's going to take time. So even when you engage with any kind of coach, have that patience. And from specific recommendation, as I said, I loved working with you. I find it comfortable. I could discuss all the strategies and all the concerns that revolves around the ecosystem of losing weight or improving energy in general.
Yeah. Got it. All right. Thank you so much. Anything else that you want to share before we kind of close this?
I don't know. I spoke a lot. I don't know if all your um, interviewer people who are coming to all the talks that you have, they speak as much as I have done, but I really feel that I have gained a lot from the engagement. So thank you for that. And I hope others also benefit from you. Yeah, that's all.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.